were looking at maybe sharing an L&D individual with another firm because we didn't feel like we were big enough to have a full-time L&D person, but our training committee is made up of 2 partners and currently 2 managers. So every time we're in a room and we're trying to develop a lot of, whether it's curriculum or plans for L&D, there's a lot of dollars that could be working on client work. And so for us, we felt like we needed to find a different solution. So we were talking about maybe sharing somebody in L&D with another firm, and we were at the Boomer Circle Summit in 2024 and just visiting with vendors, and we were talking to LCvista and Spiirall that were right next to each other in the booths, and we actually ran across LCvista first and we're telling them kind of what we were looking for, and they said, oh, you need to talk to Spiirall. Spiirall uses LCvista, but what you need is not just the platform, you need someone to go in and to develop learning plans and projects and take some of that weight off of your internal team to do that. So that was kind of how we went through that process. And then we were able to talk to Spiirall and had a few follow-up calls and looked at what the offers were and how we could customize that for the right plan for us. And then we moved forward with that, and it's been amazing. We have about, I would say normally we run about 40 FTEs. In tax season, we have interns, so we may get up to about 45 people. So that's kind of our firm overall, and we currently have 5 offices. So we're also spread out as well. So that is good for our markets, but also a little challenging when we're doing in-person trainings. So what we were really looking for was to customize the plans. A lot of our team does tax and CAS work. And so we wanted to be able to blend that so they weren't having to have a tax path and curriculum and then a CAS path and curriculum there. So what Spiirall was able to do for us was to build those blended paths, and then at a point have some advanced tax for people who don't do a lot of CAS, or advanced CAS for people who don't do a lot of tax, and really specialize and get into the advanced areas. But for the majority of our staff that work on both, we were able to put that into one plan with their help. So that solved an issue because we were finding that we could maybe do some tax, build out a few things that we wanted for our team to be able to do, but we were having trouble mixing the CAS and all the other areas with that, including the soft skills or the success skills, and we wanted put that in there as well and have everyone go through that. Another thing that's, I feel like with Spirall and LCvista that's been a little bit, you can't get everywhere, but it's been great for us, is they built out a path for our operations and our admin team. And so we wanted them to have training and not get left behind in the training area, even though they don't have CPE requirements. We wanted them to grow and have training on things that they're interested in. So they built out a learning path for our admin team, and then also for some individuals who are very heavy payroll, they built out a payroll learning plan for us too. So for people with focus areas there, they could take that rather than having to just kind of hunt and peck for training courses that worked for them. One of the outcomes that we've seen is we have training at individuals' levels. So instead before, I think we were finding training that maybe the majority of the firm would go to, or maybe it was like at a basic level, or it was either at a high level. And so now we've seen where people can have training that is more customized to the level that they're working at currently, so that they're getting the training on what they need. So they're not in classes that they aren't really working on that type of complexity, or our advanced team members aren't really taking training on a basic level. So they're really able to utilize that time more. And so I think we're seeing that they can be more prepared for doing the work because they are getting training on things that they specifically need. And so that's been very good. And we are getting feedback on like what types of training they enjoy, so we can customize that with Spiirall in year 2, which we've done. And so that's nice too, that we can, our first year, we could kind of feel out what types of training people liked and what platforms. And then we can go back now and say, okay, most people like this type of training. And so that's been really good as well. And before, if it wasn't third-party training and we did training in-house, that was a lot of time, but also a lot of effort to put together all of the training. And so it's been really nice. We've had a couple different Spiirall individuals come in. Kevin has done a training for us and Aaron's done a training for us. So we could have a third-party trainer, but they're specifically talking to us and answering our questions during the training versus being on like a very large forum, so you can get more interaction. So that's something that has been really great for a firm our size, to be able to have access to some more one-on-one, but one trainer for our group. So we have specific conversations about what we're looking for, maybe what areas would be good to focus on. So when they come in, they kind of have a background on our firm and our team and what we're really looking for. And so that's been good, because sometimes to have a trainer come in for a firm of our size can be very costly, where it's built into our Spiirall and LCvista agreement that we already have those on-site training days. How I see Spiirall fitting into our firm is that L&D piece that might be hard to hire a person to do all of that. And so what they do for us is to customize those learning plans specifically to our team, and then to be able to take on those projects that is really hard for us to get done internally, because the work never stops. So a lot of times we have good intentions with projects that we want to do with learning and development, but they're really hard to get to and to implement. And so what Spiirall has done is they walk us through that process. They do the groundwork, we give feedback, they edit that. Depending on what the topic is, they can come in and present that as well as one of the in-person training days. So to be able to still make sure that your team is learning and growing and having input on an L&D side from not just one person, but from the Spiirall team, that they can rely on different people there and what they're giving to us in the projects and the training, has been really good for us. And it's been completely worth it to free up the time that we were spending internally. And we have probably got done in 1 year what would have taken us 4 to 5 years had we taken that on ourselves. And in the meantime, those of us that are on the training committee have been able to focus on client work and growing our business rather than spending it on the projects. So how Spiirall works with us, I feel like, is on the consulting and the L&D and building out the projects, but underlying that is the LCvista platform. So prior to LCvista, and we implemented Spiirall and LCvista as a package, since Spiirall uses that, but we were having to track our CPE in Excel or on the state CPA provided software. So, and not everyone is a CPA, so not everyone had an account to track all of the training and to really see what people were doing, or are they getting in the hours that they wanted, or the curriculum that they're requesting from us as a firm and as a training committee. So with LCvista, it's able to keep track of all of that. And if we do any outside CPE, not through Spiirall or LCvista, then we have someone that can upload all of those training certificates, and then I can go out and look at my CPE anytime I want, see where I'm at. So we're not having to ask one person, hey, where's the Excel spreadsheet so I can check what my hours are for this year. And then with the curriculum that we use through the LCvista and through Spiirall, it's in there. So you can save there, you can look, hey, what do I have coming up? What do I want to add? And so you kind of have a list of all that. So it's managing what you have picked out on your learning plans, but it's also tracking that so that we can see where we're at, because it's not only important to us for the CPAs to have their CPE, but for everyone in the firm to have the CPE where they're learning and growing and having access to topics that they want to learn on. So I think that's really great. And I would give a shout out to Asia. She was the person who worked with us when we implemented LCvista was Spirall, and we met with her every week for quite a while to get everything going. She walked us through the process, made it very seamless, very easy. So she was great to work with on that side of it. But that's another piece that we love what Spirall does for us, but it's really great to have LCvista backing that up as well from kind of the organizational standpoint. So we also have someone who is attending one of the leadership and management academies. And so that was also a thing for us that was very helpful with Spirall, because we've had people go through leadership programs before, and we've always found that those are very valuable to people's professional growth to have access to that. And we also do DISC at the firm internally. When people start, we do DISC. So that's also a good fit where that's incorporated into the program. So we use it and we do some training on it, but it's fairly basic here. So it's nice that they can utilize that to a larger level in those programs. And just having that continuity and meeting other members of other peer firms that may be going through the same issues or have the same ideas, and being able to talk to them has been really important for us. And so with that built in there, it just gives us the opportunity to give people the opportunity to go through a leadership program and kind of feel like they're developing their self. So that's been really great for us as well.